Good morning, everyone. So we're a few minutes late here. I've been tweeting, Facebooking, posting in message boards, posting in chats, the baseball link for Friday. So if you didn't see Friday's baseball show, which isn't going to help you watching it today, go ahead and watch that. If not, I've now tweeted and shared the correct link for the show. We are now underway. This week, we have back-to-back weeks with a road course race. It is the sixth road course race of the season. I don't know. Some people are probably absolutely sick of road courses by now. I think NASCAR went maybe a little bit too far. Seven's probably a little bit too much. We got one more at the Charlotte Road Race in the playoffs. Either way, we have to deal with it. We've got some DFS for today. Qualifying was 9 a.m. this morning, 2 rounds. It is over now. William Byron picked up the pole there. The Chevys look fast again, of course. We do have a little bit of place differential, not nearly as much as the Watkins-Glen race when it comes to the top of the board. So first things first, I'm looking at track position is going to be huge today for this track, especially that this is the first time the Cup has been here. They've only had the one practice. We're going to look at that. I'm going to scroll over and look at the sheet as well. We're going to look at some practice times, how they did at practice, qualifying. We're going to look at all of that. So make sure to stick around right till the end. We're going to be talking some FanDuel picks, DraftKings picks, bets, PrizePicks, track history, pretty much answering all your questions as well. So good morning, everyone. A little sip of coffee before it gets cold. Because last week, I left it too long. I had cold coffee. So it's already cold already. Yep, there we go. That's awesome. But I'm going to continue drinking it because I've had zero sleep. Anyways, yeah, Briscoe can win this race. Not on Briscoe myself. He definitely won the Xfinity race here last year. He's just starting too far forward. For me, just when it comes to, you know me, if you've been part of the show each and every week, I am always looking at the fantasy matrix. So just for 4X, he needs a 7th place finish. So anything more than a 7th place finish is obviously going to be upside. He needs a 3rd place finish to even hit that 5X. It's close. If you think he's going to finish top 3, great, go for it. I do not think he's going to finish top 3 simply because you've got Elliot, Larson, Truex, Byron, who I think is going to be strong today, Christopher Bell, who's going to be looking for either some payback on Larson or just payback in general and finishing higher up after he was kind of taken out at Watkins-Glen. You got Allmendinger there. There's just way too many drivers that are, in my opinion, in the Cup Series better than him on road courses that I think he's going to get a top 3. Do I think it's out of the question? Absolutely not. I just think the odds of him getting a top 3, a top 5 are very, very low compared to these other drivers. Obviously, a lot needs to go right for him to finish up there. So it's going to be a contrarian build, I think, for sure. For me, I am not playing Briscoe in my 3 lineups today. I'm definitely going to be going elsewhere for that. In the parking lot of Indy right now. Well, that is just amazing. I am super jealous. I wish I could meet you there. We could just do this show live right from the parking lot. I haven't done a live show in the parking lot since I think the date, or no, Arizona. It would have been the Phoenix race of 2019 in the fall, actually. The last race that was in Phoenix before it became the race. And then before that, I did a show, the Daytona 500 2018. So it was pretty exciting there as well. But super, super jealous for you, franchise. Have a great day. I hope things are good. Happy Sunday. Good morning, Liz. Thanks for joining the show. Happy race day. Eric Jones, nice. Thanks for joining. A real threat to blow up the playoff even more today. Yeah, I don't think he's going to, but we'll move on. Mondo, good morning. Just kind of going through, checking everyone out. Thanks for joining. Andre, boogity, and James. There he is. Chase that Elliot. Definitely on a road course. We're going to be looking at that. So moving on, I'm going to share the sheet now. We will jump in and we'll talk some picks. I haven't gone over actually any picks. Things have been absolutely insane this morning. I do the baseball for DFSR as well as my own baseball, of course, as well as the NASCAR. So when we get same day qualifying, on a Sunday when I'm doing the baseball sheet by myself for DFSR, it is absolutely insane. So definitely going to take another drink of coffee, and we're going to dive in here. We're going to look at some picks. First of all, I'm going to sort things. I actually have to bring this down. I'm going to sort things, and we're going to look at qualifying position here. First of all, like I said, Byron's on the pole. Right on that front row is Briscoe. Then we've got Elliot and Larson. So we've got 3 Hendrick cars in the first 2 rows. I think that's going to be like the direction of my lineup builds. right off the bat is two Hendrick cars. Like Elliot, I want to go back and look at Elliot here. This is absolutely incredible. I'm going to blow this up just to make sure that we can all see this. This is going back to 2019, looking at road courses. Oh, okay. I just seen Eric. You're going to championship weekend. That's amazing. I had tickets booked for the Phoenix weekend because I've been there a couple times. They send me these emails all the time, so I got a pretty good deal on tickets. Unfortunately, Canada is not open in its border yet, so I'm stuck up here in Canada. So not going to any races anytime soon. Moving on. I'm not angry about that at all. Moving on. Chase Elliott here. Okay, so this is going back to 2019. So he had engine issues at Sonoma, that first road course race in 2019. Then the run started. Win, 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 win. 21st, absolutely terrible. Don't know what happened there, but he did lead 44 laps. That was 44 laps led on a road course is absolutely incredible. That's domination. I forget what happened in that race, to be honest with you. At the Daytona road course at the start of the year, it seems like it's been years ago. It's only been months, but we're getting close to the end of the season here. Jaeger Bombs, baby. How's it going, buddy? K Sizzle, thanks for joining. Prediction Kyle B, Kozlowski, Austin, Dylan, Elliott. No, I definitely like that. So then after back to Elliott here. After that, he came back to Austin at Coda and went first, second at Sonoma, first at Elkhart Lake, and second at Watkins Glen. He's absolutely amazing. So that right there is something we have to think about. That's one reason why I'm looking at it. Denny Hamlin is another one. Kyle Larson is one I wanted to look at here. He's gotten a lot better in terms of road course races, especially 2021. Again, he didn't have a great run at Daytona road course, and he went second, first, 16th, first. So he's won two of the last three. So we can't count him out. We can't count him out at all, ever. And then Denny Hamlin has been just super, super consistent. He hasn't won on a road course, but look at all these top fives. He's a top five machine out there. He does give us a nice little bit of, I'm going to go and sort by price here again. Just give me a second here. I'm just sharing this in a couple more places. Okay, so Denny Hamlin, I was talking about starting 14th. That does give us some nice place differential. I do like that. Him and Kyle both have actually been pretty good here overall. Not great, or not here, sorry, but on road courses, especially with their. Okay, I got that shared now. Sorry about that. So definitely looking at them. Elliott got spun late while leading. Yes, that's exactly what happened. Thank you for bringing that up. That is absolutely amazing. Thanks, Eric. So Hamlin and Busch definitely there. But if we go and look at the matrix, we just look at Chase Elliott. I don't even want to predict laps led today, so I'm not even going to look at that. There's only 82 laps, so I think 6X is definitely going to get it done for GPP. You're definitely going to be in the top 5 to 10% of GPPs. 5X is going to be a good cash all the way around. I believe 4X is kind of like the minimum that we're going to need from our drivers. Anything below that is pretty much going to keep them out of the winning lineups, out of optimal lineups, and out of pretty much cashing lineups, I think. Anything below 4X. You maybe get one driver, and it's probably going to be a value driver, if anything. If you're looking at guys kind of in this upper, top 10, 20 in salary, we're going to need probably at least 4X from them and probably 5 to 6 with 82 laps today. I do think Byron can lead a few early because I honestly don't think Briscoe's going to get by him. He maybe does. If Briscoe gets by him and leads some laps, that definitely helps the upside with Briscoe. If he can get some dominator points, even just, let's say, 5 laps led, that changes things quite a bit here in terms of what he needs. So then all of a sudden we're looking at a 9th place finish we can take from him to get that 4X. So that's definitely doable, a top 10 for him on a road course. 39.5, then we're only looking at like a top 4. If he somehow gets 10 laps led, a 4th, 5th place finish is now in the card. So it all depends on what you think is going to happen early. I think Byron's going to get out front. He put down one hell of a lap in qualifying this morning. That was, the top 10, 12 cars were pretty grouped together in terms of times. And that Byron lap really stood out. So I think he can get a jump and get out and lead some early. So I definitely like him as maybe an early leader. But like I said, I like the price under 10K, and I like pairing him. My lineups right now, initially, as I'm looking at it, just as this is my first time over since qualifying, is pairing Byron with Elliott and pairing Byron with Larson. That's going to kind of be my builds. I don't think we can get all 3 in there. It's going to be I've got DraftKings up here. If we go plug those three in, I don't think it's going to work. It's going to be very tough. You're left with 6,100, so you're going to have to come down here and do a lot of punting. I'm going to reset this so we can see the starting positions on there. So I don't think that's going to be the case, but if you're multi-entering, I do like Byron Larson, Byron Elliot together, and then even Larson and Elliot, kind of mixing those three together in my 20 max for the highest exposure of my drivers in the top here is what I'm looking at. It just comes down to Hendrick being so good overall and just so good on these road courses. All right, do you like Logano over Harvick in a head-to-head bet? Let's just go look at Logano and Harvick here and just kind of compare them. Let's go back to the starting page first of all. Why can't I find Harvick? It's like I'm blind today. I can't believe Harvick's 8K. That's why. Harvick 8K. Kozlowski is going to see some ownership. Like in terms of DFS, DraftKings FanDuel, first of all, Bowman, Kozlowski, and Harvick are going to see some ownership. I mean, looking at the road courses, they're not great. Bowman's been the best of them. So starting 24th, the fact that Bowman's been like 4 places better than Kozlowski, I think Kozlowski starting 31st is going to be higher owned. I prefer Bowman. He's got 4 top 10s in his last 7 road course races. As you can tell, that is within like the top 5-6 drivers in terms of consistency on road courses over the last 2 years. That's 2020 and 2021. Russell Henley birdie. Yes, absolutely love it. I am just jumping around big time here. I got a lot going on. Got the Russell Henley first round leader. Now got him top 5 as well as I had him outright pre-tournament. So that was awesome. And then also got some Kevin Kistner in there as well for some prize picks. We're going to talk about some prize picks here in a second, but back to this, Logano versus Harvick. When it comes to practice at this, right now I am leaning Logano. He was 8th in first practice, 7th in qualifying. So he backed up that practice with a very similar qualifying 2 rounds. He made the final round, finished 7th. Harvick was not. He was not impressive here at all. He was 20th in first practice yesterday afternoon. Looks like Webb just holed one out from the fairway, so that's awesome. Got him in some prize picks as well. And then Harvick followed that up with a 25th in qualifying. So he was worse than that practice time, which wasn't good. So for me, if it's a head-to-head bet, it is Logano just based off of practice alone. If we go look at road course history, yeah, it's Logano all day. He's got 4 top 5s in the last 7, 5 top 10s. Harvick has 0 top 5s and only 2 top 10s. 7 places difference in terms of average run position and 10 places difference in terms of average finish. There is your answer. It's Logano over Harvick. I'm going to be looking for that bet head-to-head as well today. Absolutely love it. Thanks, Andrew, for bringing that up. And if you're into DFS, again, like I said, Harvick's going to take on some ownership, but just with the stats that I just gave there, I don't really like that. I do like the price, but I don't like those stats at all. He doesn't look like he has a car that he likes. 20th and then 25th in qualifying. I think Kozlowski's going to see more ownership, and I like Bowman my favorite out of those 3 there, but it's definitely Logano over Harvick. Elliot might be the best road course race car NASCAR has ever seen besides Jeff Gordon. That is not a hot take at all. I'd have to agree with you. It doesn't matter if he starts at the back and he has to like work his way to the front. We've seen that. I forget which race that was. I'm just going to go over to road course races and just have a quick look. Again, I'm all over the place, so just fire questions off, and I'm just pretty much talking about whatever you guys want to talk about. I will try and get through absolutely every driver that I like today and all the drivers throughout the board, but I am just jumping around. There we go. Road America, Elkhart, like started 34th. Average run of 7th after starting 34th on a road course is elite in itself. He won that race and led 24 laps. Absolutely incredible. Doesn't matter where he starts. If it's a road course, you're rostering Chase Elliott unless he has like a car that he didn't fix and there's a whole bunch of damage, or I don't know. He loses, his crew. He goes into a road course race and doesn't have any crew. He has to find his crew in the crowd. Okay, maybe then we can start maybe reconsidering whether we want to roster Chase Elliott. But until that happens, it's Chase Elliott all day long. So moving on, I'm just going to make sure that I'm going through, playing Brad. I'm definitely okay playing Brad 31st. I wasn't meaning I'm not playing Brad. If I'm not playing any one of these 3 guys with this place differential in this low 8K range, it's Harvick, just because of what I said with him not being great on road course races, road course tracks. As you can tell, only 2 top 10s in his last 7 races, average run of 17.4, finish of 18.3, 20th in first practice, 25th. But then if we go look at Kozlowski, he started 31st. He had a terrible, not a terrible practice, 21st. Him and Bowman and Harvick were all right there in terms of practice times, and they all just kind of qualified, kind of right what they showed with in practice. So But of those three, I do like Bowman because I think he's going to be a little bit lower owned. And then it just, again, the correlation with the Hendrick team. They're one of the best teams right now in terms of sharing information between their four drivers. So I don't think Bowman's going to be left out of that mix by any means. The fact that the other three qualified first, third, and fourth, and he qualified 24th, I'm sure they're going to share information to really get that 48 car kind of at least in the same playing field as those other Hendrick cars. So I do like that play the most out of these three in this area. Morning, Mike. I see you just popped in here just a little bit ago. Thanks for joining. I really appreciate it. We got over 60 people here live at once. I absolutely appreciate your guys' support. That's why I log on and do this every day. Make sure to go and smash that like button. And if you are not a member, you want to see the full cheat sheet, all my picks, the fantasy matrix, my betting picks, all my discussions in chat, make sure to get over to patreon.com/Jagerbombs. For $10 a month, you can sign up for just the NASCAR only. This is US dollars. $20 a month gets you access to all sports. We are up to 14 covering CFL. That was the 14th sport. That's been going really good. Ryan's been covering that. We've almost fully transitioned now. Roto Pros is now gone in a way. Kind of miss it a little bit, but not really. Appreciate all of you that transitioned over from there. Appreciate you all that transitioned over from Slack chat over to Discord. If there's anyone watching that is maybe not seeing the sheets, you need to go check your Patreon messages. I just need you to switch your tier over. So there is a lot going on. Hit me up in DMs. Hit me up in DMs on Twitter, over on DFSR.com, over on Patreon.com, and I can help you out there. Awesome. Let's keep moving on here. I'm gonna keep scrolling back. I want to see a few more questions. I make sure I don't want to miss them all. I'm kind of just going down through the board here because, like I said, as I'm logging on, I did the updates for the qualifying on the sheet, and then I had to turn over and do some baseball updates, and now I'm back to NASCAR. So I'm going through this absolutely for the first time, looking at some of these plays. So again, to recap for some people that are just jumping on, my top plays in the top tier and my core builds today are going to include Byron and Larson, Byron and Elliot and Larson. If I'm doing 20 max, I'm mixing in those three core builds. With those, I'm probably going to have 5 of Byron and Larson, 5 of Byron and Elliot, and 5 of Larson and Elliot to make up 15 of my 20 lineups. And then I'm going to mix in my other drivers there. And then probably in those final 5, I just want one of those three. So it'll be one with Elliot, one with Larson, one with Byron. And then there's going to be 2 lineups that probably fades all 3 of those. So that's kind of my 20 max construction, my initial template, I guess you could say. It's obviously going to change as I go through the show here and as the show is over and I start building those lineups, but that is my initial template of how I'm going with building today. Okay, so I can see, can Haley get 20th? So going down, looking at Justin Haley, 5,500 today. He's got an average finish of 29.5 and an average run of 29.5. He has been terrible on the road courses. I just want to scroll down and look at him over here just to see average start. So he's finishing 4 spots back of where he's started, 29th, 25th, 40th, 24th. I don't see it. I really don't. Just looking at that, he just hasn't done good on the road courses. He's not a guy I'm going to be looking at in that range. Corey Lejoy, I would look at. He's got an average running position of 6 better, 5 better in terms of that average finish. He's got 2 top 20s in those 7 races. He's starting 26th today. And if we go down and look at the DK the DK matrix here, starting 26, I would take 22 points out of him today. Honestly, I would take a 4x return from any of these guys down here on a road course. And for that, we are looking at a 23rd place finish. He's right kind of there in terms of his average run and his average finish. I would take even, a point or 2 less, I don't think is going to kill you in terms of these punt plays down here at the bottom. So LaJoy would be one that stands out. I'm just going to go up and I'm just going to kind of highlight a few of these plays as I go over them with you guys. Truex, we can never count out. But these 3, I think Hamlin is going to be core for me over Truex and Busch because he gives you he's been a little bit better in terms of like the average finishes. He's more consistent than Kyle. He's given more upside than Kyle. So I like that. It's only 7 difference in terms of that place differential. I think Hamlin's kind of in there in terms of a top 3, top 5. I like him in terms of PrizePicks. So we'll get into PrizePicks here in about 5-10 minutes. I'll get into a few picks that I like. That's what this column is here, the PrizePicks finish position that you're going to need today. Again, I'm not looking at dominator points whatsoever with PrizePicks. So that's kind of my core up there. These two would be like secondary, but going back to Lejoy, I do like him at 5,600 because I think we can get 20 to 24 points from him on DK, and that's kind of what we're looking for today. Priest starting 30th kind of stands out. He's had 3 top 10s to Lejoy's 2. He's also got top 20s. He's got a top 10 in there as well. Go look at practice with some of these guys. Lejoy was 15th in practice, 26th in qualifying. He went out there and made an extra lap. It looked like he was going to maybe gain a few more spots, didn't. So that's another reason why I like him. Priest, terrible in practice. So right now, my favorite value would be Lejoy, just based off that qualifying time. And like I said, we can get a 23rd, even a 24th place finish out of him. Is going to be okay today, and I think he has upside of a top 20, kind of in that 17th to 20th range. So I do like that. So before I go on to some other ones, I'm just going to keep scrolling through. I want to make sure I get all the questions answered here for you guys. Busher at 7,100 for Liz. I'm going to touch on that here now. We'll go and have a look at him. Busher's been consistent all season. So let's just have a look at the overall. He's finished. He is one of 2 drivers. Who's the other one here? Denny Hamlin, one of 2 drivers to finish top 20 in every road course race going back to the start of last year. Average finish of 14.3. Him and Eric Jones in this range, in terms of those average finish on road courses, are both right there in terms of DK and FanDuel scoring. Jones is starting 28th, is going to stand out. Chris Buescher started 19th, is going to be a little bit lower owned, I feel, in the same price range. But if we go look at the matrix, actually, I'm just going to slide over. We'll look at their form coming in. Form for both of them, not great. 19 and 22 in terms of average run, 20 and 24 in terms of average finish. In terms of practice times, 26th, 24th. Jones, again, they had the same practice times. Jones qualified a little bit further back, which I like. 19th. So Buescher got a little bit better in terms of qualifying. Now we'll go look at the matrix. That is the end all be all for me in terms of do we play them or not. 28 points is what we're looking for. 27, 28 points from both of them. And that puts them in terms. So Jones, we're looking for about a 22nd place finish. And Buescher, we're going to need, in terms of 4X, we're going to need a 17th place finish. So there is a little bit of risk here just to kind of hit that 4X. A 5X is getting a little shady. We're going to be looking at like a 13th, 14th place finish for Buescher to kind of be hitting that 5X upside for GPPs. If you're looking for that 5X return. Jones, we're looking for 33 points, and that's a 19th place finish. I do like Jones a little bit better here because gives us access to a little bit more realistic upside, in my opinion. But Buescher definitely, I believe, is safe, especially if you're playing cash games. He has been more consistent in terms of overall season numbers. But if we are narrowing it down to Jones versus Buescher, Jones is going to be the play for me over Buescher. And I think Jones is going to see more ownership just because of those 9 extra place differential points that he provides here as well, especially when we look at, kind of them together, their overall body of work, their overall practice body of work is very close. So kind of the difference there, I put that together. And Eileen Jones. All right, let's move on here. Scott, thanks for joining. The WUG, sorry. Sometimes, you guys that have been around for a year, 2 years, supporting, that have your nicknames in chat. I see your real name sometimes as we moved over to Discord, especially, and even in these YouTube comments. And I'm like, I don't know if I've ever seen that name before. And then it's, oh, the WUG. Yep. Gotcha. Just like KCC as well. I'm glad you changed your name as well. Kenny, any viable under 5K punts? Ugh, that's tough. Just because looking at this road course average run and average finish position, Cody Ware has an average run and finish of 30th in his last 4. So if we go break that down and just look at how those ended, he wasn't at Watkins Glen. 31st, 34th, 32nd, 25th is what really brought that down, that average down, and that was at Daytona Road. But if we're going and just seeing what he needs, 4X is fine. I'll take 19 points out of him at 4,700. But for those 19 points, we're going to need a 30th place finish. So that's not crazy at all. He may go ahead. See, now the big thing is that outside of that 30th, once he gets 31st, you're losing 3 points. So that's the big difference in scoring this year in terms of DraftKings is every 10 spots now they've made a little bit of a separation as well. So if you break into the top 30, that's huge versus 31st. 21st versus 20th, 11th versus 10th is now a little bit bigger of a gap in those tiers of scoring. So not finishing 30th. So this one is one of the big ones for him, simply because 30th gives us 19, 31st gives us 16, which I don't think is going to be good. So we do need a 30th. He is viable. I would consider it, just because looking at the road course history, he's got the best average run, average finish position. If you go look at their practice times out of these guys, they're all terrible. They're all kind of bottom of the pack here. So it's just very, very risky down there. I'm not going down there whatsoever. Lejoy is going to be the lowest that I go. Possibly Josh Bilicki in here. James Davison is pretty good on the road courses as well. But in terms of Cup Series, yeah. So we have an average finish with Davidson of 28.7, average run of 30th. So just go look at that here real quick. So we're looking at 26 points for 5X. That's the 25th. We're looking at 21 points for a 4X return. That's 28th. I think we could even, I think we could manage 18 points and a 29th place finish out of Davison. Sorry, it's not Davidson. It's Davison. So maybe that's as low as I could go. I know Dane would probably, if I had to guess, if he was on the show right now, he would probably like Anthony Alfredo, Fast Pasta. 27th place finish gives us 4X for him, so I don't mind that either. So if I had to rank these punt guys, let's just say I would be Lejoy, Alfredo, Davidson, and Ware in that order. Those would be the punt plays that I like today. Thoughts on Kurt and Allmendinger? Okay, so back up to Kurt. He's starting 20th. 3 top 5s, 4 top 10s, 6 top 20s. So he's been consistent on road courses. He's given us upside. He gives us place differential. He's got that average run position to match that average finish. So he's been running good and finishing good. The practice was terrible. He improved that in qualifying. So that was really good to see that he can possibly, get that car more in tune as the race moves on. There's going to be, I believe, I didn't read it yet, but being that it's a new track, I would assume there's going to be a competition caution probably after about 10 laps, somewhere in there. So he's got that on his side to make adjustments, as well as the first caution. We're not looking at dominator points out of him. So these cars that are starting further back, I'd like to see practice them get better from practice to qualifying. Seeing they've made some adjustments in those times and can possibly keep doing that during the race. Kurt Busch at 9,000, I like the price, being that he's been super consistent on road courses. Minimum, we want 36 points out of him. That's going to be like a 14th place finish, we'll say. That would be like rock bottom that we need out of him. Floor, 45 points is kind of more what we're looking for. That's a 10th place finish. He breaks into the top 10. You're looking at 5 to 6X, because a top 5 is going to give you 6X. So he gives you access. If he can finish top 5, which we go back over here and look at that road courses. Let's just go to the road course tab and look at Kurt Busch here real quick. He's got 3 top 5s. 6th. We'll take a 6th. 6th or better in 2 of his last 3. And again, he's got 3 top 5s in his last 7 road course races. That top 5 would be 5 to 6X, and most likely in the winning lineup, optimal lineup today. So yes, I love Kurt Busch just because of everything that I just said. The fact that he got better in practice, he gives us place differential. He's been very consistent with upside on these road courses. And then the fantasy matrix just capped that off. I love Kurt Busch today. Can't handle going under 5K on drivers. Yeah, you got to be building 20 max, 50, 150 lineups to be really diving down into there and taking that risk. If you're just doing 3 max, it just seems like a lot of risk that you're throwing into your lineups. Even if you're just doing 10, I think those guys 5K and lower just throw way too much risk that you don't need to take, especially on this track today. If we're talking Daytona or Talladega, 100%, I will throw almost anyone in my lineups as long as they're starting like outside the top 20, top 25, top 30, most definitely. All right, I think I'm caught up in questions. I'm actually not. Nathan says, thoughts on Ryan Newman? So we'll start. When I do this, I'm going to highlight Kurt Busch. I like him a lot, actually. You also mentioned Allmendinger starting 8th. Probably a little bit. I think they had troubles in practice. Only seen about 10 minutes of that practice yesterday, but it looked like he was having a little bit of issues. 16th isn't bad. He improved, top 10 in qualifying. So that was good to see. But with all the other cars that are out there, it says he's in the 116 car. So when I upload that, some of these cars, it just comes in as false data, but whatever. He does have upside, but I like these other guys a whole lot better, especially Kurt Busch. So Allmendinger would be like a GPP play for me. He's going to need a fourth place finish just to hit that 5X. And I think a top 5 is kind of like his upside. Fourth to sixth is like his ultimate upside for me today. I just think those other cars are better equipment, and they're just stronger drivers on road courses now. If we're talking 5 years ago, Allmendinger's the dinger is the ringer back in the day, but that's not the case anymore. With all these road courses, everyone has gotten better on road courses. The guy used to have like a pool of like 3 to 5 drivers that you kind of wanted in all of your lineups on road courses, and now that's expanded to like 10 to 12 drivers. So a lot more factors come into play rather than just, oh, we're just going to automatically put these guys in just because. So Dinger would be like a GPP guy for me, just because he needs a lot to go right for him to access that same kind of upside that Kurt gives us. That's the way I'm looking at it today. So moving on, Ryan Newman. Got to find him here on the sheet. So he's down in that value range, 6K. First of all, he's only got 2 top 20s. I don't like that in the last 7 road courses. 26 average finish, a little bit better average run, but still not great. He started in 32nd, which is why people are going to draw to him. And this always happens with Newman this season. Let's go look at the practice next. Yeah, terrible in practice, did not improve in qualifying. Things aren't looking good for a Ryan Newman play here right at the moment. The only thing that's going to really sway me here would be the fantasy matrix. So I need 24 points out of him. So we're going to start there. That's a 25th. So, oh boy, wrecking things on the sheet already. So we need a 24 points out of him minimum, and that is going to be a 25th place finish. We need at least a 25th place finish out of him. Let's first of all go look at his current form. Let's sort this by average finish position and go look at Newman's current form. And being that we have to scroll down, this is not good. Average finish of 26. He's not finished top 20 in the last 5 races. Average run of 23.2. But I said we need a minimum of 25th. Well, he's gone 25th, 24th, 28th. So that's definitely there. But when we go look at just the road courses in general, this is what scares the hell out of me with Newman today. 25th, 32nd, 33rd, 24th. His ultimate upside for me, just looking at everything and comparing everything between practice, current form, course history, road course history, this season, road course history overall, everything combined tells me that his maximum upside for me is kind of 23rd, 24th place finish. I don't see a top 20 out of him today, which kind of takes him off my radar, especially considering him starting 32nd and everyone else kind of starting. Well, look at Suarez starting 5th, Custer starting 10th, Dillon. You got these guys starting 20th to 30th. Newman starting 32nd is going to stand out for people in terms of place differential. He's going to see ownership. I myself like to fade that with everything else that I've just said. Not one thing stands out with Newman that makes me want to go and roster him and go with the chalk build today with Newman. Maybe he's not going to be super chalk, but he's going to see some ownership with that place differential. That always happens when the public comes in and plays NASCAR on Sunday. They see a guy that's low priced with place differential, but when I look at all the other factors, he does not check any of the boxes. I am off Newman. So kind of long-winded there, but I just want to make sure that when I give you guys my reason, and I could be dead wrong, and that goes with anything. And I have said this in a few weeks with my picks. I got a lot of people on here today. I'm not going to tell you who's going to exactly win the race or who's going to be the 6 drivers in the lineup. I'm going to give you my opinion on what I look at. The things that I look at on the sheet, the things that I look at overall, how I build. As you can tell, if you've been watching the show for any amount of time or listen to me in chat at all, for the members out there, the fantasy matrices are like the Bible to me, because that's going to tell me how many points that we can get from certain drivers. If we're comparing 2 drivers and one driver needs like everything to go right just to hit the same amount of points that a floor the other driver has as just like a floor, one driver needs a win and like 40 laps led to have the same amount of points as the same driver or as a driver in the same price range that needs like a 12th place finish because of the place differential upside and he's better at the track. That just makes it easy for me. Just makes my decisions a bunch easier. Is it going to work out? NASCAR is high variance. It is definitely not going to work out, but I have a system and I have to stick with it, because if I find the biggest mistake I used to make in the past was I'd have a strategy this week and then I'd go away from it and do something completely different next week. Well, if I would have just kept with what I did the week before, Sure, it didn't work last week, but it would have worked perfect this week. But I changed things up just going off of last week's result. Well, that's the wrong thing to do simply because every track is different. So, yes, you got to have a game plan, but your game plan can't be exactly the same every single week. You have to stay and you have to change things as you go. So, moving on here, thoughts on Matty D? Good GPP because everyone is going to be on Harvick and Keselowski. I hope everyone's on Harvick and Keselowski. I am 100% off Harvick here. I went over that a little bit earlier. Why I like Bowman a little bit better than both Harvick and Keselowski, but I will have a little bit of Keselowski, a little bit more of Bowman. You asked about Matty D here, starting 15th. So I'm going to go through the same process here, and I'm going to do it for this range in general because they're all kind of starting in the same spot in terms of Reddick, DiBenedetto, and McDowell. Reddick and McDowell both have 3 top 10s in the last 7 road course races. In terms of consistency, Reddick's got 6 top 20s, so he's been the most consistent driver of these 3. DiBenedetto's been the worst of these 3. They're all pretty close in terms of average run, average finish. Reddick has been the best. So Reddick is my favorite right away, looking at that information. Practice, top 10s for Reddick and DiBenedetto. McDowell was just outside. They all kind of qualified right there. DiBenedetto actually got a little bit worse while the other 2 drivers, Reddick stayed about the same. McDowell got 2 places better. DiBenedetto got a little bit worse. So I just want to go now. We'll go look at their body of work on the road course races recently. So we've got Reddick, DiBenedetto. Who else did I say? My memory's so bad today. Jumping around. We're already at 36 minutes. I said I was only going to keep this 30 minutes today, so here we go. And McDowell. So Reddick, again, has been the best on these road courses, and recently he's got back-to-back top 10s, but DiBenedetto's got 11th and 10th in his last 2. So I really do like seeing that he is trending in the right direction. He's probably going to be lower owned than Reddick just because of all the stuff that I just said. Now the matrix, again, we will go to that because that is what decides everything for me. So we're looking at about 30 points minimum for these guys. For Reddick, that's a 12th place finish. For DiBenedetto, that's a 14th. And for McDowell, we're looking again at 12th or 13th. I'm fine with all 3 of these guys as lower owned GPP pivots. DiBenedetto gives us a little bit more upside. He needs a little bit less in terms of hitting his floor. So I probably would go with DiBenedetto as my top guy in terms of safety, and then Reddick as a GPP pivot off of that. McDowell, again, he would be 3rd. It's very close between Reddick and McDowell, but again, with the information that I was showing you, Reddick a little bit more than McDowell. So it would be DiBenedetto, Reddick, and McDowell in terms of those 3 there. Any love for Blaney? Not at the moment, just because of these other guys that I've talked about, but I believe he's going to be low. He doesn't give you that place differential that Bowman, Keselowski, and Harvick, and then he's got the road course ringer of Allmendinger right up there, and then Kurt Busch. I think Blaney's going to be very low owned today, 8 to 10%, somewhere in there. So GPP, he just hasn't been as consistent. So I don't have any love for Blaney, but I do have love for the possible low ownership and upside that he can hit at that low ownership, being that he is starting 16th. And he's been decent. He's been good, not great on actually, he's not even really been that good in terms of where he started and what we need out of him today. 14th, 20th, 10th, 17th. So the finishes that we need out of him to hit his upside for the ownership is the odds of it happening are lower. So I would be a little bit lower on Blaney overall. Do I have a core 4? Well, I kind of give it to you throughout the show here. So kind of take your pick of going through these picks here. But like I said off the start, I like, if I'm building 20 max, I said I'm going to have 5 of Byron and Larson, 5 of Byron and Elliot, 5 of Elliot and Larson. So there's a core 3 for you right there. I like Lejoy. I talked about liking Jones down here. I talked about liking Buescher. Kurt Busch being in a really good place. He could be a core play for you today. You could probably mix in easily, and I'm going to go build it here in just a second. Larson, Byron, and Busch. So we'll just go and just see what that leaves us. 6,800 is totally doable today, especially if we go and throw in Lejoy. So you want to, this isn't my favorite core 4, but this one gives us 2 guys up front. Kurt Busch, who I believe has top 10, top 5 upside, which is huge in terms of DFS today. And then Lejoy, I don't think he finishes much better than like 18th, but an 18th to 20th definitely hits his value on DraftKings today at 5,600, and then you're left with 7,400. So it leaves you with a lot of options after that. So there's a little bit of a core that I like, and then again, you can just kind of mix in those other drivers that I talked about. Hamlin, if you like Hamlin better than Byron, put that in there. If you like Elliot better than Larson, depending on that. I haven't filled in any of these other ones yet, but I do like Bowman. Again, like I said, sharing information with Byron, Elliot, and Larson, who are all fast, who are all good on these road courses, especially Elliot and Larson. So I think there's a lot of upside at 24 starting position for Bowman at 8,400, especially with Keselowski maybe taking on some ownership here. I think Devin talked about him at all, but I think Bell, he's ran strong. I mean, these numbers are also going to be down a little bit because of last race. So keep that in mind. And then I talked about these guys down here. So now I'm going to move on to PrizePicks before I take off because I got about 5 minutes left. So a couple PrizePicks plays that I feel very comfortable about. First of all, Kurt Busch as a top 10 driver, I like. He only needs an 11th as a push, so top 10 would be a win if you're betting the over on him. I do like that. Denny Hamlin better than 7th, I like. William Byron better than 10th. So my two favorites would be Hamlin and Byron. Busch is right up there. And then I do like Elliot and Larson to finish top 3. No doubt. It's just a little bit more risky in terms of PrizePicks. So he would be, if you're looking at a 2 or 3 play power play, it would be Hamlin, Byron, Busch. And then if you're looking to add on and maybe do like a 4 or 5 play flex play, you want to really max it out there, I would probably throw in, I wouldn't do both of them. I would probably pick one of Larson or Elliot to throw in there. And then probably go down the board and maybe look at some guys that can outdo DeBenedetto just because of what we talked about him doing earlier. Tyler Reddick, I think I'm okay, but I do like DeBenedetto a little bit more just because what we talked about, what he's been doing here lately on the road courses, 11th and 10th in his last 2, was really nice to see. It had been 2 years since they've been to Watkins Glen, almost 2 years. Elkhart Lake Road America, I think that was his first time on that. So this is also another road course that is the first time for Cup. So I do like seeing that trend out of DeBenedetto. So I am with him there as well. So those are some PrizePicks plays that I like here as well today. I don't see any more questions, so I'm going to take off here. I'm going to get back to, I got updates on baseball lineups. So if you guys are asking NASCAR questions and wondering where the hell's Chris, why isn't he answering me? I just got to do some quick updates for baseball over on DFSR and get that up to date. And then I'm going to be filling in my picks on the members only sheet, my final picks. I'm going to do some exposure rankings. We've got lineup lock in about an hour and 13 minutes. I'm going to give you my top 5 in my exposure in chat, actually my top 10 in terms of my exposure if you're building multi-entry today. Thanks for joining the show. I really appreciate it. Going to be back again next Sunday. We have no more days off for NASCAR until the end of the year, till like mid-November. This is absolutely incredible. Again, thanks for joining. I really appreciate it. Head over if you want to follow me on Twitter at Jaeger_bombs9. If you're not a member and you're looking to get a copy of the cheat sheet, you can go over to DFSR.com. There's a 7-day trial there right now. Also, $29.95 a month gets you access to all of my sheets as well as all the optimizer tools that we have for 5 different sports. And you can also get my sheets and all of our content for 14 sports from me, Dane, Kenny, and Ryan over at patreon.com/JagerBombs. $10 a month for one sport, $20 a month for all sports. Thank you for the support. Let's go have a good day, everyone.